It was a pretty emotional interview for Erika Kirk, the widow of Charlie Kirk, as she does Jesse Waters' show on Fox News. I want to share what she had to say about Jimmy Kimmel and Sinclair Media reaching out to her to apologize. Have a listen to this.
Jimmy Kimmel lied about your husband's murder and didn't really apologize. What would you say to Jimmy Kimmel?
Same thing I told Sinclair. They asked. I haven't really told anybody this, so. They asked, do you want Jimmy to give you an apology? Do you want to be on his show? How can we make it right? Through our team, I responded. I said, tell them thank you, we received their note. This is not our issue, not our mess. If you want to say I'm sorry to someone who's grieving, go right ahead. But if that's not in your heart, don't do it.
And Jimmy Kimmel did not apologize, which I'm in support of definitely what Erika Kirk has to say here, which is don't apologize if you don't feel sorry for something. I also don't believe Jimmy Kimmel said anything wrong. Don't forget, here's what he said. The MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. So Jimmy Kimmel isn't, again, I know I've covered this about 50 times. He's not saying what side of the aisle this alleged murderer is, even though a lot of people are questioning if it was a lone gunman and whatnot, due to a lot of the inconsistencies coming out from the investigation. But it was the MAGA pundits, including the president, who wanted to make it out to be a crazy, radical left lunatic. They're the ones who wanted to make this political. Jimmy Kimmel said they're trying to characterize him as anything other than one of them. That's what he said. I don't think it's warranting of an apology, and I don't think it was anything personal. He even went on, I mean, and people in the comment section will continue to defend this, saying that's not what Jimmy Kimmel said. So I don't know if it's gaslighting. I don't know what it is Jesse Waters does, but to me, he's a bad actor. He's a bad actor because he's not even beginning to present the reality of the situation.
I don't want it. I don't need it.
Great response.
But I'm amazed with her grace, though. She could have went for blood. She could have said, you know what? I want him off the network. I don't think he should be there. The way he villainized my husband, even in his death, but she didn't do that. She goes, if you want to do an apology, let it be sincere. If not, just don't do it at all.
I have the same, this is where my critical thinking skills, I guess, don't line up with some people in society, but the same issue when Colin Kaepernick was taking a knee, right? He was clearly protesting police brutality, and everyone just kept on saying, you're desecrating and dishonoring the troops that fought for this country, blah, blah, blah. And he said, and he kept on shouting, no, this is about police brutality. I'm silently protesting. You tell me, you're trying to tell me in which ways I should protest and not. I'm silently doing this. It's about police brutality. And it's like, it doesn't hit with people. So there'll still be people in my comment section that say, no, whatever, but why should Erika Kirk, with all she's dealing with, sadly, tragically dealing with the loss of her husband, why should she have to deal with what a late night TV show host said, right? That's just where I stand on all of it. I'm going to share some other clips of what was said here, but here's a correction from someone. They said Jimmy Kimmel came straight out against political violence after this happened. Days later, he told his viewers that the killer was not even a Democrat, but a Republican, which by the looks of it, his family was. He was not celebrating death, the right lies and lies. And again, even that, like Jimmy Kimmel never said who the killer was. We still don't know, which is quite crazy, right? We know nothing more about the killer's motivation. The killer, if he even is the killer, could come out and say, no, actually, I did this because, whatever the issue may be, but they latch onto it, and that's dangerous. And whenever we see that in society, we need to really pause and consider why we're so quickly reacting to things like that. Someone said, is there a way to give Erika Kirk a break from having to be out in public? Her makeup is great. She's clearly good at holding herself together. Her shoulders scream that she's exhausted. Yeah, I don't know. I don't, I find the whole conversation odd. It's It's a big win for Fox News. I'm not one of those types who fully believes like a lot, we've reported on Erika Kirk, the hug with JD Vance. She also held JD Vance's wife's hand. So who knows, maybe she's a touchy-feely type. I'm not going to pretend to understand how people should react to such a tragic situation, which clearly most of us, thankfully, have never been a part of. Here she describes seeing his face. I mean, again, I know this is pretty dark stuff. Seeing his face for the first time after the shot.
You wanted to see Charlie immediately and came up. Take us through that.
When we walked into that room, he had this smirk on his face. That smirk to me is that look of, you thought you could stop what I've built. You thought that you could end this vision, this movement, this revival. You thought you could do that by murdering me. You got my body. You didn't get my soul.
Now, look, I feel for her. I do. I question, and I wasn't there, but apparently the bullet hit him and hit his spine and he was immediately paralyzed. So like, I don't even understand what type of smirk she's talking about, but she can look at that and interpret it in any which way she wants. Absolutely. That she was his wife, right? I'm assuming, I don't buy into a lot of the chatter about how like the relationship was, she didn't love him and this and that. I don't buy into any of that. Not for a second. But again, people can have whatever idea of, they can have their own opinions on what happened. There is this video that's going around. Erika Kirk's emotions brought to you by Visine. Fake it till you cry. And again, I don't know what she's rubbing on her eyes. Maybe she's got allergies and she's putting Visine. Who knows? Erika Kirk caught using tear solution to create fake tears before going on stage to remember her late husband. Like, I don't think this is the case. I don't think I don't think she was put into place to be his wife and this is some great campaign and she's in on it. I think that's a lot. Those are some pretty heavy and wild accusations to make. Maybe she's been crying for days and, I don't see that as, it looks like to me, they say she's putting Vaseline. I mean, it clearly looks like she's, probably, trying to do her makeup underneath her eyelids. But this just goes to show that the internet will think about a situation as they want. And I don't know. To me, I give grace for those that want to find a deeper, I don't know, conspiracy. I think a lot of people believe in conspiracies because they don't want to believe that bad things can just happen. But this idea that Erika Kirk has is like, they thought they could stop us. Let me tell you something. On behalf of pretty much everybody who's left of Charlie Kirk's policies and his politics here, this is not the work of a coordinated campaign by people that want progress in this country. Maybe there was a coordinated campaign. Candace Owens is reporting that there were phones owned by the Israeli government that were pinged in that area. I have no clue. But this idea that the only way you can stop Turning Point USA is by murdering their founder, I reject that. The best way to stop a policy you don't believe in is to create a better policy. That's what we need to focus on in this country. My hope is that most people don't fall into an us versus them. I certainly was not a fan of Charlie Kirk's, although there were some policies that I believed in, that he agreed in, which was getting, private equity money out of home buying. So there were certainly things that I could agree with somebody on, but I also think that he was also divisive in many ways with his sort of ideology about what constituted a happy life in a marriage. And it's like, it's different for everybody. And what worked for him might not work for somebody else. But either way, it's a sad story to think about as we sort of digest the mass PTSD we all felt in one way or another, because that's what it was. It was a mass PTSD. You had sheriffs, you had people getting arrested in my state of Tennessee for posting memes, professors getting arrested for posting Charlie Kirk quotes. You had people, it was insane. And it's only been a month and change since then. And as we deal with how as humans we're so flawed that when something of such a critical moment happens, we don't even react in ways that is constitutional and incorrect. And it's a reminder that rather than fight or flight, we need that moment where we breathe deeply and we don't play into our intrinsic limbic system that wants us to just go crazy. That's what they use against us to make it a left versus right issue. They use this issue of like, the immigrants are coming for your jobs. They're doing this to your women. They're this, they're that. When in fact, it's the billionaires that are robbing us blind. So if I could agree with Charlie on anything, it's getting private equity out of any market that is meant for people to live the American dream. Home buying, hospitals, and things like that, right? Get the money out of that. That's for, we all should have a right to have a little slice of the pie in this country, right? Anyhow, fascinating stuff. It's going to wrap it up for us today. We'll be back in the morning. We'll have those Baldoni stories and so much more. We'll get to that then. So stick around. As always, I'm Dave, and this is The Rush.